Happy Thursday. Okay, I'm feeling like a 90s kind of world, and glad I got my girls. This video is for black women. This is dedicated to all black women. We're gonna have a great time celebrating you all. Cue the dancing lobsters.
The white pages. Do white pages? No, it's the white pages. Oh, like the white pages. Do what you want, do what you will, do what you like, do what you feel. Burn your incense, burn your sages, 'cause it's time for the do white pages. Like the white pages. No, it's the white pages. No, it's the white pages.
All right, thank you, studio audience. Thank you all, and back to you. Hello, if this is your first time, welcome. If you're returning, good to see you again. My name is Timothy DuWhite, and these are the DuWhite pages. Now, I hope that you enjoyed that little ditty that I premiered in the beginning of this little here video. Like the nice little 90s flair, gave you a little like a mix between Moesha and the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is what we were going for. Let me know in the comments if it hit. If it hit different, also let me know. So yes, that opening theme song actually came from a good friend of mine. Her name is Cypherella. I'll put her picture here. Hey Cypher, hey girl, thank you for the song. So yes, she created it for me. She's an amazing rapper, MC, just amazing artist in general. I'll make sure to link her IG as well as some of her different music videos down in my description box, so please check her out. And also, she is a black woman, which brings us to the topic and the point of this video. Today we are paying homage, paying respect, giving roses to black women. So yes, we're gonna be doing this in two ways. One is we're gonna be going into these amazing books written by black women last year, 2020. And the second way we're gonna be appreciating black women is I'm gonna talk about some of the black women I love in my life. It's my best friend of over 10 years is a black woman. Ashley, I love you so much. Jen, I love you so much. Alicia, I love you so much. Chi, my girl, I love you so much. So many black women, just so many. This is really just me out here, just, you know, talking about my friends. Hey y'all, I know y'all watching, y'all better be. So I have 4 books that I'm going to go into, all of which I read, and these all were published last year, 2020. And let me tell you, first of all, you can't outright a black woman. Like, here we are. Black women be writing, you know, they be writing. You feel me? So from Maya Angelou to Toni Morrison to recently NK Jemisin to my friends, big up to Ashley August, an amazing writer. Alicia, Alicia, amazing writer. Like, black women have been my favorite writers ever. So of course, 2020, black women snapped once again. Just snapped. Just started writing stuff that's just like, sis. Really? So 4 books I'm gonna be talking about today, written by black women in 2020 are The Vanishing Half by Brit, Bennett, Luster by Raven Leilani, The Secret Lives of Church Ladies by Deesha Philyaw, The City We Became by NK Jemisin. So the first book I want to get into for this love fest on black women that honestly This book kind of took 2020 by storm, to be 100 with you, so not really sure how much I will have to really explain this situation, but we're just gonna go for it, okay? We could just let's just pretend that you don't know what this book is. It is The Vanishing Half by Brit Bennett. Follow two twin black sisters who live in a very, very small town in the deep South, where historically in this town, only light-skinned black people have populated as the residents. So, and also that's intentional, right? So intentionally this town has just been basically marked for only super light-skinned, also white passing black people. The story takes flight when the two sisters, just for their own separate reasons, decide to escape and run away from this town and venture off in life. And eventually they get separated and begin to live two completely different lives. And one sister decides to live her life disguised as a white woman and just live her life as a white woman. So she gets married to a white man who thinks she's white, doesn't know anything about her past, anything about her family, and she just lives her life as a white woman. Whereas the other sister gets married and has a child with a very, very dark-skinned man that she eventually leaves, but then returns to her home, to her old mother's house, with her very, very dark-skinned daughter that she now has to raise in this very colorist, pretty disgusting town, right? Brit Bennett did a good job. I really feel like she did a great job, not only in managing the conversation around colorism, but also in creating the plot and a storyline that was super engrossing and made you excited. As we went through this book and started to get to know the sisters more and more, their stories just deepened, especially the relationship to their mother started to become even more and more layered and layered as it went along. And just this desire, what we understand beauty standards to be, was laid out pretty well in this book. One drawback I will say around the conversation around colorism that I didn't like, Brit Bennett did at certain times sort of cling to these kind of lazy metaphors as it related to the dark-skinned daughter. So times within the book where the dark-skinned daughter was compared to a dark room, and to see that a lot as depictions for dark-skinned characters, where this sort of implicit metaphor within dark skin is just the idea of darkness, where that doesn't necessarily happen with lighter people. We don't always have metaphors of the sun readily when we talk about light-skinned people, unless we really want to affirm how beautiful and how attention grabbing they are. But for dark-skinned folks, this kind of image of darkness and dark rooms and all that tends to be implemented a lot, whether in books or media, and it's kind of lazy, and it's also colorist in itself. And I saw Brit Bennett did that a few times with this book, which kind of, to me, detracted from the overall message I feel she was trying to get towards. So yeah, that was one drawback for me, but it didn't happen very often, so it wasn't so central to my experience of the book, but it happened enough for me to be able to want to comment on it. But outside of that, this book was it was just really fun. Also, I think that's the word I want to use. Even with the subject matter, it just felt really fun and really engaging, and you wanted to read it all through, and you wanted to know what was happening with these characters, which is the success, right? So that's our first book, The Vanishing Half by Brit Bennett. Okay, I can't be too loud because, people trying to sleep in this house or whatever, but I've been feeling really excited, so I'll be wanting to scream sometimes. I'm gonna try to keep it cute. But this next book is so messy, and I'm talking about, of course, Luster by Leilani. The main character in this book, Edie, is kind of your homegirl that just be doing some just dumb, just be doing the dumb stuff, sis, why are you doing that? That's basically who this person is. And since she's just gonna do the dumb stuff, and she's not gonna listen to you, it just gets to a point where you just be listening to her stories and the predicament she put herself in, and you don't even bother giving advice because you know she not gonna take it, and she also knows she not gonna take it. So y'all just come up with an understanding of just like, you know what, you say what you just tell me your story, you know, I'll be entertained, and then we can just move on with it, you know, like we don't have to pretend. Let's not do that, you know. And I think that is what this book is. So in this book, we follow our main character, Edie, who is a 20-something black woman millennial working within a very, very super white publishing house. Like Edie, so she finds herself in this relationship with this older white married man who is living a seemingly open relationship, but you don't really, even as you start to read it, you see that this is not really open. It's like something else is happening. She's seeing this man with different rules and guidelines as set up by the white man's wife. So yes, the wife knows about it. And then eventually, after Edie loses her job and a lot of like different mishaps happen in her life, she winds up, through invitation of the wife, moving in with the family. So she's living with the wife whose husband she's currently still having sex with, right? And the white couple has an adopted 11-year-old black daughter that is starting to look up to Edie as a sort of older sister figure, and basically also the only other black person readily available to her to offer her any type of guidance. So it's just a lot going on. You know, it's a lot going on in this book, I gotta say. One of my favorite things about this book is, aside from it being like super messy, which I really loved, what I also really loved about it is that Raven writes the most amazing and most stark descriptions like I have ever read. Like the way that she writes Edie's observations in this book is like unparalleled. Like no one is writing observations like Raven Leilani is, okay? Nobody. The way that Edie was able to articulate what she was seeing and what was happening and what she was experiencing with this white man, and it from just being like this sort of messy, messy millennial story into like a really larger meditation on like black womanhood at that age, at the age of 20, as well as like what it means to be a black young millennial without much access, with the education, but also still lacking resources, and where that will lead you and what that will lead you to do. There's just so many different conversations that was happening in this book that I just loved, and like, again, like similar to Bennett, just a banger from 2020, a banger. Wow. Black women, y'all really wrote 2020. Y'all wrote it. This next book is so good. Like I can't even. So this next book is The Secret Lives of Church Ladies by Deesha Philyaw. This is such a good book. So this is a book of short stories, all depicting various different black women and the relationship with either church or organized religion, or just like the general like idea of God. So this book was just super sensual, I believe. I think this book was just super sensual and just intimate too. Like all the stories just felt so intimate and so like close to the heart, and that I really loved about it. The different conversations that Deesha had in this book as it relates to like what it means for like a woman's body to be dictated by like man and God, and how much of God is in man and how much of man is in God, and like how those things play out, and what it means to like be a devotee of any of this. It's just amazing. Even if it wasn't intentional, I think the size of this book is just perfect, because a lot of these stories are meant to be read again. Like I already know that I need to reread this, but so many of these stories are just like so satisfying. They were just so satisfying. Like Deesha really, I feel like she just wrote black women in a way that I can say I've had the pleasure of like knowing some of the black women that she's written in this, and I had the pleasure of like hearing some of the thoughts that a lot of these black women have like shared in this book, whether it been from my mother or my best friends or my cousins. Like, there was such an intimate look at this that I was like, felt honored to be able to be an audience within this book, and at times within my own life. And I think that sort of intimacy and that sort of like close camera on like black women and like how they exist and how they live is just such a gift to be able to experience as a non-black woman, that every time I get that opportunity or every time I get close in that way, I just feel so grateful and so just so grateful. And I think that's what I loved about this book so much, is that it gave such an intimate look into like the realities of black womanhood and the realities of like how certain black women think and express their love and express their fears. That to be that close, you cannot do nothing but just say thank you. Honestly, like, to be that close to any black woman's like thoughts or fears or desires or anything is such a privilege. So just thank you, Deesha, for giving me this privilege. I just finished this today, y'all. So it's very like it's like serious. It's like very it's fresh. Okay, it's fresh here. It's really fresh. I love this author so much. She's literally my favorite author. Like, period. Like, I think that's it. Like, I think she's my favorite author. I think that's fair to say. And it is The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin. In this book, cities are actual people, and they have emotions, they have feelings, they have temperaments. So in this book, we follow the 5 boroughs of New York City: Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan, the Bronx, as well as even Staten Island, as they are being under attack by the enemy, which is described as this woman in white, right? It's basically a meditation or a exploration of gentrification and what happens when a city gets attacked, right? And like what happens to like the neighborhoods, and how does the city respond? How does the city fight back to the enemy that is gentrification? And y'all, this book is just brilliant. Like the characterizations. First of all, my family is from Brooklyn, right? Like, been here for over like 70, 60, like a lot of years, right? So my family right there on Crown Heights, big up. Saying that to say is I've been around, I've known Brooklyn for my whole life, right? I've known this city for my whole life. I haven't lived here my entire life, but I've always been here. Like, this has always been my place. So all that to say, the depictions of the boroughs was done so good. I don't want to give too much away, but just the person of Brooklyn was just spot on. The person of Bronx was spot on. The person of Staten Island was definitely spot on. Okay. What I loved about it so much is that it was a mixture of like this super like hot, like this super highbrow, brilliant analysis on gentrification mixed with this like super campy, sort of like Captain Planet-esque journey of these boroughs to try to find each other and team up to fight the enemy. It was like this sort of Power Ranger type of thing, but done with this like keen brilliance attached to it all. Like, all the decisions and all the different conversations that N.K. Jemisin had, like every like side comment that a city would say just spoke volumes on the actual existence of this city that I'm living in currently. And it's just, I think it was just so smart. And N.K. Jemisin is just the queen. When I tell you, like, black women are undefeated, anybody who comes to this video trying to act so on some like all women matter type vibes, please step to the side, because this is really for Black women. And if you need any evidence that Black women are literally like creating the foundations of like our futures, and like writing us into a future that will actually help us to survive, then you need to read City We Became, right? This is the evidence, because this was out. It's out of this world. It's out of this world how good this is. You understand? So yeah. So these are all the books. I really wanted to do this video because I've been feeling an immense gratitude as of late for Black women and for everything that they have done in my life and continue to do for me in my life. As I said before, all of my closest friends, honestly, with the exception of some, but the majority of my closest friends throughout my entire life has been Black women, from high school, big up to you, Chi-Chi, to college, Paige, to after college, and now my best friend, Ashley August, my reading nerd, homegirl, Alicia, I love you, Jen. Everything I know about writing, everything I know about existing within my politics has come from Black women, from Bell Hooks to Audre Lorde to Maya Angelou. Maya Angelou was the first poet or author that I ever resonated with, that meant like so much to me. To Toni Morrison, whose Song of Solomon is my favorite book to this day and has like literally changed my life. To like mentors that have taught me, to Lauren Whitehead, an amazing dramaturg, to my girl Nisi, an amazing playwright, to Aradai, an amazing playwright, to my co-workers at my job, Callie and Judith, to just Shantia, my homegirl from high school, just so many, Miss Bolt, an English teacher from my high school, who was just so cool and so important. Black women have laid the foundations of so much thought and so much existence that I live my life through today. And to end on an even more personal note is, throughout my life, as I said, I have had so many close Black women who have like completely changed my life, and that I have loved, and that loved me. And I've noticed throughout my life that within these relationships, a lot of Black women have told me that I was the very first positive Black male relationship they ever had, which, when I think about it, one thing that comes to my mind is like the idea of even being like a Black man, right, is sort of strange to me to feel, because I know that's what I'm read as, and that's how I generally exist in the world, as a Black man. But I also know, like, growing up and being queer, that I have felt like the sort of societal understanding of Black manhood. Like, I felt it in the way that I used to walk, I felt it in the way I would talk, I felt it in the people that I loved and what I found sexy and attractive, right? So like a lot of what constitutes the societal image of a Black man, I kept failing. So I had this really mixed relationship with that identity. But I could tell you, I feel the most like honored and the most like at home and centered in being a Black man when I think about the possibility of this identity that I have being able to somewhat to like at any way heal some of the damage that this identity has done to so many Black women. And I say this not to say that I am I am above somehow or beyond hurting black women, because just the very nature of me loving black women also means I have hurt many black women, and many black women have hurt me. And like, I don't want to make this video a way of like sort of mythologizing black women and making black women as if they're some ethereal otherly type of being, right? Like there's black women, there's our black women that exist that I don't like, right? And that's also fine, and that exists. What I want to say, and that point of this video, is to say that beyond everything and beyond whatever interpersonal relationships may occur or whatever, historically and just foundationally and just like overarching, black women deserve so very much more than what this world has offered them, and continues to deserve more. And my hope and what I would love to do is to be able in some way with my existence and with my living is to try to close the gap in whatever way I can for what is owed to black women. And right now, the best way I know how to do that is just by being a friend. So to all my black women friends out there who's watching this, I love you, and I'm so thankful that you're in my life. And I am honored. I am honored to call you friend. And I will continue to read your books. I will continue to uplift your writing. I will continue to uplift your existence because you deserve it, and because you have already done so very much for me. So thank you. And to my mother, thank you. Thank you. The first black woman I've ever fallen in love with. Thank you. Hey y'all, Editing Tim here. Real quick, I just wanted to throw in there, of course, there's like so many black women in my life, so there's no way I can name them all, but I'm gonna try because I gotta respect. One person in particular that I really want to make sure that was in this video is Ebony Janice. She is an amazing, not only amazing writer, but also an amazing thinker and cultural worker, and a friend of mine, and I've learned so much from her. So I definitely want to give her a shout out. And also in the description box, I'll make sure to link to a bunch of different organizations and initiatives led by black women that you can support, as well as just, you know, just a lot of black women for you to check out and get to know and follow their work. I'm also going to link an initiative by a good friend of mine by the name of Ariel Newton that you should definitely check out as well. She's an amazing black woman as well. So yes, that's the end of Editor Tim. If you made it to the end of this video, please type in the comments just a book from a black woman that you really love and that was really important to you. So yeah, and I'll see you next week. Bye.
Burn your incense, burn your sages, 'cause it's time for the DuWhite pages. Like the white pages. No, it's DuWhite pages. No, it's DuWhite pages. It's time for the DuWhite pages.